Good morning. So I got something to say about all of this talk and politics about Trump wanting to go into a third term. Right now, this made me laugh. It made me chuckle. I tell you why. It's not because I'm with or just against it. It's because you see. So I was speaking with one of my friends. Right. So I am an American. In case that you can't tell by the accent. I'm an American. I am a proud American. Being honest, I don't trust politicians in general. I'm not a Republican, not a Democrat. I'm skeptical of all politicians. I don't have, frankly, I don't have much faith in the process at the moment. But yeah, so this thing about a third term made me laugh because I'll tell you this fact that I was speaking with one of my American friends, and apparently she did not know that. So, can you take a guess about what is the official name of North Korea is? So it's officially known as the Democratic Republic of North Korea, right? Now, why is that interesting or why is that important? Because to the people of North Korea, to North Korea, it considers itself democratic. Now, you could ask, how did that happen? How could North Korea, I mean, it's famously a dictatorship. It was Kim Jong Un, and then it was his dad, and it was his dad. So how is that? How can they call that a democracy? How did that come to be this way? What does that even mean? When did it start? It basically started like how it can start here now. What happened is it was a democracy, and then at some point, it was like a first term, a second term, a third term, and then it kept going, and then the guy gave it to his son, and his son gave it to his son, and then it became a dictatorship. But you're not allowed to say that because they will execute you if you say that, right? So, I'm just saying this is how all dictatorships happen. So, am I with it? Am I against it? I don't think it's a good idea. This is not against Trump personally. This is not an attack against the Republicans or against Trump or against any of those people. Um, I'm just saying this is not a good idea. Just looking historically, if you just do a little bit of a read about how dictatorships happen, this is how they start. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to start here, but every time you normalize somebody staying in a position of power for longer, it is like we get closer to that point. So let's say he did the third term and then he passed away, or he did the third term and then somebody else came, right? Now, what that means that you normalize having three terms, so it becomes a step further. So somebody, could come and make it four terms. Somebody could make it five terms, and then, before that, you would have a president for life, a president, right? So I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to put my thoughts about it. I just find it funny that people are, because I was speaking with my landlord and he's very opinionated. He loves Trump, and the funny part is that he keeps complaining about how the justice system don't like poor people and about corruption. And I don't know, but it seems like Trump not exactly sort of guy that is doing a lot of things about the justice system and for people who are bad on their luck or something like that. I don't know much about what's going on with Trump at this very moment, but I don't think he's exactly about that. He's more like about foreign policy, and I don't want to go too much into it. Um, but yeah, he was, he loves Trump so much, and he's very excited about him. Yeah, let's go a third term. And I was like, but doesn't the Constitution, say something against that? And he said, no, well, because the Constitution is interpreted by the Senate or by the House, and if they reinterpret it and it could mean a third term, that means it's fine. And I was like, I don't know, I mean, and that was just really funny to me, just watching this man defend that much. I don't care if it was Biden. I don't care if it was any other president. That's not my thing. The thing is that how vehemently. He defended the third term, given that this is how all dictatorships start. And I thought, this just kind of. I was talking to one of my friends, and I kind of mentioned to her that like so I who was a Greek philosopher who kind of talked about democracy, and they like asked him what is the best thing about democracy, and he said that everybody could vote. And then they asked him what is the worst thing about democracy, and then he said that everybody could vote. So this is, I guess, one of the disadvantages of democracy, that everybody could vote, and even when it's a situation where it's clearly against democracy, which is really funny, but yeah, I just wanted to put this out there. I find this funny. I find this interesting. I don't know where's the country going from there. I mean, there's all kind of stuff going on. You got Mamdani, and socialism that might be in New York. You got a lot of protests. You know, I don't want to go into much into it, but all of us know, things are changing, and there are some changes coming, and nobody is sure what kind of changes. Um, if you're a good person, you didn't commit any crimes. You're a moral person. I hope that you're safe. I hope that you do well. And if you've been doing something bad, I hope that you quit doing that. Just get on the good path, get on the right path. What you know in your heart is a good thing to do. And thank you for listening. See ya.